Good morning everyone, I'm Kathy and welcome back to the Human Anatomy and Physiology class. Today, let us discuss about the digestive system. At the end of today's lesson, you will be able to relate the anatomy of the digestive tract to its functions, relate the anatomy of the accessory organs to its functions in digestion, outline the essential activities involved in digestion, describe the digestive activities along the digestive tract. Our slides contains the following: structure and functions of digestive system, structure and functions of accessory organs, essential activities of digestion, and activities of digestive tract. Let me start by asking you, what did you had for breakfast? Hold that thought and then later on, you will understand on what are the nutrients that you obtained in the food that you had for breakfast. Alright. Our body needs nutrients to survive. Nutrition is a process by which organisms obtain food and energy for growth, repair, and maintenance of the body. Nutrients are obtained through feeding, or the intake of food into the body. That's the main reason why I asked, what did you had for breakfast? And the major classes of nutrients are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Let's look back on what you learned in topic 1 about digestive system. We said that it performs mechanical and chemical processes of digestion. It is for the absorption of nutrients, elimination of waste, and comprises of the digestive tract or gastrointestinal tract. And so down here in the photo, we had our oral cavity or your mouth, and then you have your pharynx or your throat, you have your salivary glands, esophagus, stomach, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine, and then on the left side, you have your liver, gallbladder, appendix, rectum, and anus. Now, let us take a closer look at each of the components. First, you have your oral cavity or your mouth. Your mouth contains your salivary glands. For the secretion of saliva, it helps to moisten food. It lubricates your oral cavity or your mouth. And then it contains lysozyme, which are antibacterial, and contains salivary amylase, which is an enzyme. Food and saliva mixture forms bolus. Bolus is a Latin word which literally means ball. And then you have your teeth. Your teeth helps you to cut and grind food, breaks down food into smaller particles, and then mixes food with your saliva. Your tongue and cheek muscles hold food in place and helps to propel food into your throat. Okay, for esophagus, it's a muscular tube that extends from your throat all the way to your stomach. You can see in the photo, you have here your bolus of food. Okay, it passes through your esophagus. So what happens in peristalsis is that it is a rhythmic contractions that propel food in a forward direction along your digestive tract. It is lined with moist stratified squamous epithelium which produce a thick mucus. And then moving on, you have your stomach. Your stomach is a muscular bag that continues from the esophagus. Remember just now, from the mouth you form the bolus, right? The food bolus. And then it passes through your esophagus. When it is inside your stomach, bolus or the food ball mixes with the gastric juice, it forms chyme. You have large folds in the mucosa and submucosa layers. These large folds are also called rugae or wrinkles. As you can see from the photo, in the mucosa and submucosa, it contains rugae or wrinkles. Okay, so that it will allow the stretching and extension of the stomach walls. Chyme exits the stomach and then enters the duodenum. via the pyloric sphincter. Okay, in your stomach, you will have your stomach secretions. The gastric glands in the mucosa secrete gastric juice into the stomach cavity via tube-like structure called gastric pits. Your endocrine cells secrete hormones. I summarized a table here. So, you have your mucus secreted by the mucous neck cells. And what it does is to coat and protect stomach lining from digestion by pepsin. And then you have hydrochloric acid inside your stomach secreted by parietal cells, which converts pepsinogen to pepsin, stops the action of the salivary amylase, and it is antibacterial. Next, you have pepsinogen secreted by the chief cells, precursor of pepsin, and pepsin digests proteins to smaller polypeptide. Hormones, example would be gastrin, secreted by the endocrine cells. Gastrin controls gastric juice secretion. After the stomach, let's move to the small intestine. Your small intestine is about 6 meters long, and it extends from the stomach to the large intestines. As you can see from the photo here, the duodenum is about 25 cm. And then you have your jejunum, which is about 2.5 meters. And then you have your ileum at the lower part here, that is 3.5 meters long. Your small intestine is the major site for digestion and absorption. Okay. And then in your stomach, you have your intestinal secretions that includes mucus, digestive enzymes, and regulatory hormones. Adaptations of the small intestine. Increased surface area for the absorption. You have your mucosa and submucosa form circular folds. Next, in the photo here, you have the villi. Villi are finger-like projections that extends from the mucosa into the small intestinal lumen. Then blood capillaries bring absorbed amino acids and glucose to the liver, and from there to the rest of your body. Lymphatic capillaries bring lipids to the lymph circulation. From the small intestine, let's move to the large intestine. Cecum, located at the right quadrant of the abdomen. Okay, when it's on the right quadrant of the abdomen, here in the photo, it is here on the left. Cecum is at the right quadrant of the abdomen, at the proximal end of the large intestine. Small intestines drains into the cecum. And you have here your small tube, that is your appendix, and it extends inferiorly from the cecum. If it's inferior, remember in the anatomical terms, it means that it is below. Okay, pointing down, which is this one. Then you have your transverse colon, you have your descending colon, and your sigmoid colon. Okay, remember the locations, okay? As you can see from our photo on the left side of the screen. Then your rectum, down here, is a straight muscular tube. Then you have your anal canal. It opens into the anus, guarded by anal sphincter. You have here your internal anal sphincter and external anal sphincter. Large intestine is for the water and mineral absorption, vitamin K production by bacteria, formation of feces, and defecation. Now let us look at the accessory organ to the digestive system. Your teeth, your tongue, salivary glands, and then you have your liver, which mainly produces bile. Then you have your gallbladder, which stores bile, and then your pancreas. We'll discuss bile and gallbladder. Liver, you have your hepatic portal veins, this blue tube here. Okay? It carries molecules absorbed from your digestive tract to the liver. Next, we have hepatocytes or liver cells arranged in lobules that produces bile. The bile contains water, bile salts, cholesterol, lecithin or phospholipids, and bilirubin. Bile is important for digestion and absorption of fats. Flow of bile canaliculi to the hepatic bile duct and common hepatic duct to the gallbladder and common bile duct and small intestine or your duodenum. Okay, look at the photo. We have here your gallbladder stores and concentrates bile produced by the liver until needed to digest fatty food in the small intestine. And the green one, which is your hepatic bile duct, carries bile within the liver. Then your common hepatic duct carries bile out of the liver to the gallbladder or common bile duct. Then your common bile duct carries bile to the small intestine. Bile salts and fat digestion. Production of bile. You have the mixture of water and bile salts and cholesterol plus bilirubin or your bile pigment. Presence of food containing fats stimulate the release of bile from the gallbladder into the small intestines. Bile salts aid fat digestion or emulsification and facilitate fat absorption through micelle formation. Essential activity